Welcome to Biz Talk, everyone. I am your host today, Rachel Weaver, and I am excited to have with me today Nora Al-Masri. Nora is an agent with the IRS, the founder and CEO of Nourasbooks, and an international best-selling author. With a master's degree in business
Oh,
information technology from DePaul University, she brings over 20 years of accounting experience to her work in managing and growing nonprofit organizations. Nora is known for her expertise in increasing nonprofit funding through the streamlined processes and regulatory compliance. In addition to her nonprofit work, she's a dedicated to helping business owners achieve their financial goals. Nora, welcome to the show today. Thank you for being here.
thank you for having me, Rachel. Thank you so much.
So, I am excited to talk to you today about nonprofits and some key pointers that you can share with us about getting started in forming a nonprofit or 501c3. And I know that there's a lot of organizations that wonder if they could be someone who is eligible. So, how would I know if the business I've started is eligible to become a nonprofit?
So, in terms of legal things, you have to start as a nonprofit corporation in order to be a nonprofit. But in terms of should you start a nonprofit or should you start a corporation? This is like where you want to see what's the purpose of the business. Is it um is it but just doing services for profit for your personal interest, or are you trying to really serve a certain area, a certain demographic? How are you planning to serve them? What do you want to do actually, like, to serve them? How much are you expecting? Are you seeking fund from somewhere else, or are you planning to charge them, or what's exactly the purpose of the business? So this is where actually the business plan comes in. Speaking maybe to a coach, to someone to help you lie down like everything, the purpose, what do you want, speaking to an accountant to see exactly what's the tax implication, tax things from it. What does that entail? So you make sure to actually you start a right structure, so you don't start just an LLC or a corporation while you have to start a nonprofit, and vice versa. So you want to make sure to speak to an accountant and to a coach to see actually, or sometimes to a coach to see exactly what's the best structure for you. And also you want to consider the legal, so you want to actually talk to your attorney as well. But this comes from the beginning. So sometimes, like, if you register as an LLC, you might have to actually register again for a new entity that's going to be a nonprofit.
Okay, so tell me then a little bit about the cost involved to forming and maintaining a nonprofit.
So yeah, just to start, actually, you have to always, like, you have to give money to make money. Even with a nonprofit, you're making money. Like, even though, like, it's not a personal interest, you're still like having a program and everything, and you still actually can pay yourself at certain points. But you need initial cost, you need the cost for registration. If you want to use like someone experienced who's set you right, because you need to have a bylaws, you need to have conflict of interest policy, you need to have the registration fees on the state level, and every state has a different cost. So you have to check your state level, and then on the IRS level, you want to actually apply for the exempt status. And when you apply for the exempt status, there are two options. There are one option is when you do the 1023 easy, and the application fee for that is $275. The other one is when you do the 1023, which is the longer form, and the application fee for that $600. This is if you did it on your own, but I do not recommend that you do it on your own. I had a lot of people coming to my way saying we were rejected because this application might sound easy to fill, but I'm just filling an application. No, you have to be careful what you're putting down. You have to make sure you're doing everything correctly, because any simple mistake can cause that rejection. And now it's
Mhm.
going to cost you more for someone to come and actually fix it for you. After that, you're going to go to do it on the state level. Sometimes, like, you have to go the attorney general on the state level. Some states they require more fees for that. So, like, just for the fees, you want to expect anywhere between at least 500 up to 1500. It depends on the state, it depends on who you use. And, like, if you want to use someone who does every single thing, do the bylaws, do everything, it's going to cost a lot more. But I don't advise you to actually cut and cost, because you're going to pay more later. And also, one thing I want to mention about 1023 EZ and 1023, I don't really recommend people go for less than that 1023. To save just few hundreds, like a couple of hundreds, you don't want to actually do that easy, because when you start a nonprofit, you have all these energy, and you want to do a lot of things. And if you actually put a limit for yourself, doing the 23 easy, where you cannot raise more than $50,000 for the first 3 years, it's going to actually demotivate you. So by the time those 3 years done, you're already not motivated as much as when you started a nonprofit. Don't set a limit for yourself. That's my individual opinion. Both options are there, but it's up to you.
Okay, very good. That was a lot. I appreciate that so much. So tell me, I would love to know, what are some of the potential risks and liabilities associated with running a nonprofit?
A lot. So anyone who wants to get involved in any level with a nonprofit, whether you are doing the registration yourself or you actually being on the board, even like if you want to do accounting for them, anything any involvement with a nonprofit can come to the risk. A lot of eyes are open from the IRS and from the state level to on the nonprofit, because you are doing part of what the government are supposed to do. You're helping the government, you're taking pre-tax money, so you are actually helping people on reducing the tax. So that tax should have gone to the government instead. So you should be doing everything by the book. You should have a capacity for your nonprofit, because people can go to jail if they are spending money not correctly. People can actually not having enough backups for what they're doing. Documentation is not good, not having policies in place. All of that can cause the shutdown of the nonprofit, or sometimes it can go as bad as going to jail. And we want to stay out of jail.
For sure, for sure. So, in terms of a nonprofit and making money, what are some ways that we legally can make money as a 501(c)(3) or a nonprofit?
So there are various options. Like, my favorite is actually raising fund from individual. Identify ideal clients, ideal donors, and actually get them to trust you and donate to you. And that's my favorite way, and that's the more consistent and more actually this is the blood for your organization. Another
Mhm.
way is getting grants from state, from corporation, from federal, but that's going to require more capacity. That's why you have to set up as actually successful nonprofit before you even can get to the good funding from them. You can actually sell something related to what your organization mission is. And you can also do unrelated, but you want to be careful when you do unrelated business income, selling something that is not related for your organization mission. You might have to pay taxes. So you want to be careful. You want to always work with an accountant who knows about nonprofit laws. So you also, people do auctions, events, but some options are cost effective more than others. So if you go try to do gala from the beginning, you expect to have a lot of money spent upfront and not a lot of returns. So because you're gonna have to cover for all the expenses. While if you really learned how to raise money from a strong donor base, that's gonna be less cost for you. So it's gonna be more cost effective.
Mm. That makes sense and really good information to understand. I think also, wouldn't you suggest having that clear vision and a mission statement and a plan when forming your nonprofit to make sure it's something that you want to set aside the time on? Is that correct?
Definitely. First, before you even start the registration, you have to get the education. And when I'm saying education, I don't mean like go talk to someone who started a nonprofit, just any nonprofit, because unfortunately, a majority of people don't really have that enough education to actually make them build a strong nonprofit. So you're right, Rachel. You have to get the education. You have to have a clear vision, a clear impact statement. Well, mission. I call it in my program impact statement because you know
Mhm.
you want to be very brief, concise, straight to the point, clear for you and for your team and for the donors, so you can actually talk to people right away, like in few
Mhm.
seconds, just like an elevator pitch. And you don't
Yes.
not having that mission statement, that a paragraph no one can repeat unless like you're reading that from the website. That's not a
Oh,
good mission statement. You want to have that
right.
something short and sweet. You can
And
say
to
it
the point, right? I
exactly.
know. Yes. Well, thank you so much for such valuable information. Please tell the audience where to find you.
You can go to my website, nourasbooks.com/contact. And you definitely, if you're interested in starting a nonprofit or if you are there and struggling, you can either get to my actually coaching program or get my book from Amazon, How to Start, Manage, and Prosper with a Nonprofit. It can help you get started and get unstuck.
Well, thank you so much, Nora. And with that, we will be right back after this commercial break. Thank you.
You're